Assurances in Technology with Trevor Sammut, MDIA, Efrem Borg, MDIA, Dr. Ian Gauci, GTG Advocates, and Professor Gordon Potch, University of Malta.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this session on software and technological assurances. My background, I'm a computer scientist, although I work a lot together with MDIA, the Malta Digital Innovation Authority, on regulation. But, you know, technical people with a background like myself always ask the same question, right? I mean, if you try to regulate technology, you're stifling, you're killing technology, you're killing innovation. And if we want to give technological assurances, if we want to give software assurances, then we have to regulate. And if we regulate, we're stifling innovation. So does software assurances, does the introduction of software assurances actually kill innovation, kill the opportunity to actually create new solutions, new ideas out there? And I think it would be interesting to start off this discussion between us four, trying to find ways whether, you know, and discuss how one can regulate without stifling innovation, how one can come up with ways to actually encourage and support innovation through regulation, through technological assurances.
Hi, Gordon. Good morning. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Trevor. Hi, Ian. Good morning to everyone. Efrem, myself, I'm Chief Technologist at MDIA. Background in cybersecurity, served as CISO for MITA, which is the Maltese authority or agency providing computer services to government, but also with a very wide background on IT infrastructure per se. Very good introduction, Gordon. Thank you. And in fact, I am pleased, honored, to be working alongside our CRO, Chief Regulator, Trevor. But we are proud to state that both of us are technologists at heart. And I say this argument because I believe it is of utmost importance to be able to encourage the use of innovation in technology in a regulated way. Because if we go too heavy on the promotion, leaving a free hand on promoting innovative technology to be built in an unregulated manner, then we would have chaos. Then we can create social distress. On the other hand, if we over-regulate, then we can see the stifling up of innovation, because innovation is obviously needs a free hand to be able to implement. So through the actions of the authority, both from my department, the technology department, and the regulatory department, we try to find the right balance. In my department, coming up with initiatives related to the creation, the promotion, the creation of opportunities to be able to instill innovative technologies, AI, blockchain, big data, within application in the public, private, or also the startup domains. And obviously, we can guide our applications through the certification regime or program that my colleague Trevor enforces, to be able to deploy technology which is built on international standards, ensuring assurances to a number of stakeholders, not only developers, but also investors, end users, and also the general public, to ensure that the technology, when implemented, brings about social benefits and not social distress. So we want to encourage the correct use of innovative technologies. I'll stop for here.
Yes, thank you, Efrem. Gordon, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to this session. Thank you for the introduction, Efrem. And Gordon, after myself, will be Dr. Ian Gauci as well from the legal side. It seems like we have a gradient at this time from computer science, strictly computer science, then coming to heavy technology. technology and reg, and then we go full legal. So I think this is an excellent panel, if I dare so say myself. Hopefully you're not seeing myself and Ian here with the title, "This is why we can't have good things." We are actually here to ensure that your claim of having good things, the things are really good. So if they are really good, then you would have no qualms or squabble to have them certified by independent parties, one of which could be MDIA, to a tough framework or the various products that we have, the Technology Assurance Sandbox that the previous speaker and our chairman, Dr. Joshua Lul, mentioned, and or the full ITA certification that we offer. A bit of background, because this is a round of introductions. Trevor, as I've been introduced, my background is as well in technology. I've administered several networks, have experience in Linux administration, NAS, and those types of storage systems. My background is in policing, so I've always been a person who sees both the technology and how things can be enforced. But once again, the ultimate goal is to have quality assured products. As I went along around the fair, seeing what many of the stands here are offering, I see a lot of claims. The most secure system, a fair transactionary system, a crypto-based, a DLT-based, decentralized system of doing transactions. And I question everything. That's my job. Is it really decentralized, or is there really a central power somewhere? So these claims, as we go along, as we've seen the DLT technology mature, are always going to be challenged. And I believe, and we believe, that what differentiates your product from others is how ready you are willing to put it to the test. Put it to the test through independent parties, legislation, and assurance frameworks. I'll pass the microphone to Ian.
Hi, my name is Ian Gauci. I'm a technology lawyer, and I happen to advise as well the MDIA. I will not delve a lot on law, even though it's my remit. So why are we here? Why are we presenting the MDIA? Who is the MDIA? To a certain extent, Malta was innovative. We are in the midst of an evolutionary phase. It's more than innovation, evolution, okay? And Malta was looking at the environment, irrespective of DLT, of innovative technology, but at the actual environment, they were seeing a different concept of trust, a shifting of the element of trust. We're seeing a lot of convergence. Now we speak about metaverse. So convergence in technology, convergence in habits, convergence in service provisioning. Through all this chaos, we were seeing as well certain lacunas in existing laws and regulations. We were actually feeling the need of a dedicated authority to cater for this particular future venture, because it is a future venture. We're already ahead of our time, and it is a future venture. We're still babies. So the Maltese government at that time, I think it was 3-4 years ago, decided to dedicate the resources to create an ad hoc legislation on technology assurance. Why technology assurance? Because to a certain extent, technology, which is going to be predominantly software-driven, code-driven, okay, is going to be the linchpin of services, is going to be the linchpin of evolution, is going to be the linchpin of the future innovation. And it needs the trust element. Why? Because otherwise users will not pick it, investors will not invest, so they won't have uptake. And that applies across the board, even in the gaming industry. Because we're speaking about the same technology. We're speaking about the same users, us. And that is predominantly why we have the MDIA. So the MDIA there catered for specific regimes where you have certification of technology, which up till now it's still voluntary based. It created as well specific criteria to choose the auditors who, on the behest of the authority, would certify this technology. So here, we're imbuing on the element of trust, okay? We're imbuing on the element of trust. And to a certain extent, now it's extending the remit to more than technology areas where we know that technology might be used, where these particular areas are either of a vital strategic importance or they are critical areas. So there, because of public policy, because of exigency, in the lack of specific legislation, particularly from the EU directing us to move in that particular pain, the authority is already catering for the future. So it's already making sure that in that particular facet, in that particular industry, the technology element of trust is safe. Now, my last concluding remark, and I'll pass to Professor Patch. This is as well future-proof. Why? I believe we've all heard the buzzwords decentralized autonomous organization, DAO, AI, artificial intelligence, the metaverse, okay? People being more in control of their life, yes, through software. So to a certain extent, you won't have the middleman, you won't have the person, you don't have the entity which usually is easily the target of regulation. You're going to have the technology and the people, the coders, the investors behind the technology, and it is specifically there where this authority, through this innovative thinking, is catering for an existing lacuna in the evolutionary process.
One of the things which I think is interesting, I mean, if one looks at the past, whatever, since computer machines, started being used, is that we've seen various, high-profile failures of systems. We've seen rockets explode, we've seen medical devices fail, we've seen people die, we've seen loss of funds, all because of technology failure. And I think this is, in itself, is already, one big motivation towards user assurances, investor assurances, as Ian rightly pointed out. But I think, an important aspect is that one primary user of technology are technology creators themselves. And as technology creators, we know that we depend on other technologies. So what sort of assurances would we like to have in order to ensure that our own technology works as advertised, works as desired? And I think this is an important question, particularly because we've got multiple technologies coming up, each with their own challenges. Now, Joshua, just before in the previous talk, was talking, for example, about the problem with smart contracts, write once, there forever. In a way, we've already seen this when in hardware, right? You design a chip, you produce the chip, you cannot really update the physical content of the chip, but still, it's not as bad as possibly in a smart contract unless you've designed it in a manner that addresses this. So I think one important question, which I think it would be interesting also to follow up on, is whether different technologies require different ways of ensuring assurances and of regulating. So, I don't know, AI, I mean, the EU has just come up with draft AI regulations. What about DLT-based solutions? What about IoT-based solutions? What about, all sorts of things? I mean, we've got different challenges ahead. And the challenges ahead are not only technology-specific, perhaps, but also sector-specific. Does a fintech solution differ in the type of assurances it needs to give to that of a RegTech solution? And I think this is the sort of question that really requires much more thought. I think it would be interesting to discuss a little bit how MDIA plans, or how we think this could be addressed by providing assurances at a jurisdictional level.
Way back 4 years ago, in the conceptualization of MDIA, we have created the MDIA Act and the ITAS Act, which are the laws which permit us to provide the technological assurances that we provide to date. Obviously, that was created with the insight we had 4 years ago, and we've learned as we came along throughout these 4 years, and we've listened to multiple stakeholders and tried to understand where we can actually provide additional value. And we've learned that not every stakeholder would require the same type of assurances. And that is why we set out, I think it was towards the last quarter of this year, on a challenging project which is called the TAF, Technology Assurance Assessment Framework, which will permit different levels of assurance to be provided to different stakeholders on the basis of risk, and also in different technological domains. So you've mentioned AI. I can mention cybersecurity, for example, and the Cybersecurity Act and the cybersecurity certification, which is coming from the EU institutions and will be obligatory at a certain point in time. So we need to gear up to be able to provide these type of certifications and assurances. Also in the AI domain. So we see regulations being put forward in the EU Commission which we need to be in a position to be able to regulate, although it's not a nice word for me to use, but control to provide these type of assurances. So the TAF will be a solution, a framework whereby we will have assurances in line with the risk appetite of the particular technology at hand. So today we understand that, for example, a small and medium business does not require the same cybersecurity assurances as, for example, a leading bank in Malta. Obviously, we'd need different control statements, different control objectives for that particular application. And we might also need methodology of assessment which varies in line with the risk appetite of that particular application. So TAF is exactly trying to accomplish or cater for a number of different stakeholders having applications at varying risk levels and providing assurances also to these matched up with these levels of assurance. Hopefully, in the next quarter, on the first quarter of next year, we will be in a better position to provide information of how this TAF framework will be working, and obviously, hopefully, gaining traction and a number of applicants in that domain as well.
So, yeah, excellent, Efrem. I think if there's a take-home message from all of this, and Ian and myself can conclude on these notes, is that we as MDIA, we understand technology even from the legal side, from the pure legal side, very technologically versed Ian lawyers and the teams that we have. And the target, our target is to understand your technology, what you're trying to achieve. As Efrem said, you might be implementing a really simple technology in a high-risk environment, or you can have a risky technology being implemented in a really trial test-based low-risk environment. And therefore, we learned, and this we learned this from experience, the limited experience we've had in the past 3 years, that every solution, every one of you guys need to have a tailored solution, something custom, depending on your risk appetite, what you're facing out there, and what your clients are demanding. I'll pass the last minute. I think we have the timer here, and over to Ian. And I think you can wrap it up beautifully as always.
Yeah. Let me wrap up. At the end of the day, and I wrap up precisely on where Professor Potts started, the main actor here is, actually there are two actors. We as users, we're always there, but at the end of the day, there's the technologist. And here we're speaking on a technology agnostic front. The technologist, the software developer. With this framework where you imbue trust, where you imbue a process, where you imbue, to a certain extent, obligations, transparency, okay? You're imbuing responsibility. So we are indirectly introducing responsibility on the software developers. And even the word software developer, a kid, 10 years old, can be a software developer. So this is where we're starting. And we are literally tapping on the evolution front. This is why the MDIA is innovative. And I think we've finished our time.
Perfectly on time.
We thank you for your time. We hope it did not bug you as we were here. And thanks a lot.
We hope we have been as much as entertaining a regulatory sphere can be. Thank you so much. Please find our stand just beneath the stairs as MDIA. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.